Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the On Pattison podcast. I am Mike Missinelli. This is podcast number 4 already. My God, time flies when you're having fun, eh? And of course, my partner in this venture is none other than On Pattison superstar Anthony Sanfilippo. How you doing today, Ann?
Doing good, Mike. We had a little bit of that Birds Huddle music there.
Yeah.
That's right. the Birds Brunch. Birds Brunch music there that we had.
That's right. A little drama.
That's good. There's a lot of drama with this team.
A lot of drama. You know, listen, we start the podcast with little current events. Current events usually involve the Philadelphia Eagles. So a couple big topics to go over this week. First of all, they're 8-2 as they beat the Lions last week. I think the Dallas Cowboys coming up. We'll have a preview on the Dallas Cowboys coming up in a little bit. But the news is that Lane Johnson is certainly out of this game and maybe out for the rest of the season. Cam Jurgens still a little banged up. Just give me a couple of numbers what the Eagles are without Lane Johnson and with him. They're 110, 57-1 with him. And without him, they're 15-23. But more importantly, and this is a shocking statistic, without him, their running game dips from 4.6 to 2.4 yards per carry. Now, that is problematic as you go into the Dallas Cowboys. You're going to probably score some points against Dallas in this game, but we'll get to that later. The big drama, of course, listen, when you have a high-profile athlete in town, the drama always surrounds the high-profile athlete, usually the quarterback, and in this case, Jalen Hurts again. And there is this notion out there that there is something behind the scenes going on that's causing some interrupt between Jalen Hurts and the rest of the team. I don't know. We went through this whole thing with Carson Wentz way back in the day. I have no idea what's going to go on behind the scenes. But this was off a report by a former Philadelphia Eagle reporter named Derek Gunn, who had some things to say. He threw this out there last week on his particular post-game show. Here's what Derek Gunn had to say about the Jalen Hurts situation in the Eagles.
People in that organization that are frustrated with the quarterback situation right now, but the quarterback understands he has him over a barrel. This is almost Carson Wentz part 2. They're not going to eat this kind of money yet. There's no way they're going to eat this kind of money. Look at the cap hit they took when they got rid of Carson, and look, it took them a couple of years to get back on solid ground again, footing, because they were handcuffed financially because of what they owed in the cap hit they took with Carson Wentz. You got the same scenario here with a bigger volume of money involved here.
Okay. It's pretty vague, all right? So they're frustrated with the Jalen Hurts situation is what was thrown out there as a vague comment. And then he alluded to the fact, well, are they frustrated enough that they want to pull ties with him and do the same Carson Wentz thing? Try to explain for me, Anthony, what you heard there.
Yeah, so what I heard there certainly confused me. And so I think, Mike, I had to kind of do a little bit more of a deeper dive. And I paid attention to what a lot of people have talked about this all over the place. Yeah, you know, I heard Greg Cosell talking about it on a show. I heard the national media talking about it on a show. And there's been some support of what Derek Gunn said, and there's been some pushback to what he said. So I think it's probably somewhere in the middle. But I think that the one person that I heard the most that I appreciated the honesty of this response was Jason Kelce, who I heard on the radio this morning. And Jason Kelce said he didn't deny that this happened, right? But what he said is this kind of stuff happens all the time in a locker room. He said everybody has a different approach to trying to win. And you may not agree with one person's approach, even though they're your teammate. And he said Lane Johnson and him are best friends. He said there was a time one season where they didn't talk to each other for an entire offseason because they were mad at each other for the arguing that went on in the locker room. He said it's not uncommon. He said, but the reality of it is that everybody's trying to win. Oh, and the team is 8-2.
Well, but what is he doing? What is the quarterback doing that is affecting the team in the negative? That's really what I'm more interested in. What is it exactly that they're talking about?
How about it? What is he not doing? Because I think it's more what he's not doing than what he is doing.
Not doing?
So we talked about this a little bit last week, right? Where I suggested that Jalen Hurts is a little bit too conservative because he doesn't want to turn the ball over. And you could be a game manager and be very successful in this sport, right? But I think the receivers and the offense would prefer that he try to thread the needle sometimes, or they could put a 50-50 ball up. You have a 1 and a 1A in your two receivers. Let them go get it, right? And he seems a little bit reluctant to do that. And I don't know if that's related to the fact that he had that really bad 23 where he had all those interceptions and turnovers. I think he led the league in turnovers that year, or he was close to the top. Maybe that kind of made him a little bit skittish over the last 2 years. And last year it wasn't as prevalent because Saquon Barkley was having an all-time season, rushing for 2,000 yards. But this year, Saquon Barkley's not being Saquon Barkley. So it now becomes a little bit more noticeable, and I think that the frustration becomes more public because the offense is not doing anything.
Yeah, I get it, but here's the other side of it. A couple of games ago, the guy put up a perfect rating. And then the week after that was a near perfect rating.
It was against the Vikings and the Giants.
And I've heard some things in practice. He'll let some balls go, and that he doesn't. And he's reluctant to let go in the game. I've heard all that stuff, but we've always heard that he's such a great leader. Now, if he's such a great leader, this kind of thing doesn't happen because they are winning. So what is it? Is he too odd to relate to people? Is that what it is? Like, I'm just trying to figure out to hit the nail on the head here on what exactly is the disconnect.
Well, see, and that's a great thing that you just said there, Mike, because here's one of the things I've always felt about Jalen Hurts. Like, here's a guy who is away from football, a model citizen, right? He's kind of quiet. He's not always out there in the spotlight. He doesn't misrepresent himself or the team or the city in any way, shape, or form. So that's why I think everybody really likes him a lot. So, but he is a little bit of an odd duck when it comes to game day. He is a unique kind of player in that he does things the way he wants to do them. Now, it's hard to argue with the guy when he looks at his own track record and says, I've won a Super Bowl. I've been to 2. I'm a Super Bowl MVP. Like, I have the best winning percentage of any quarterback in the NFL. Like, I must be doing something right. Why should I change? But I could also see it from the flip side. If you're a teammate or your players on the team and in that locker room, like, this isn't what we've practiced all week.
Yeah.
This isn't what we talked about in meetings. Why are you doing this? So I guess that's where the frustration comes in.
But going deeper here, because the second part of what Derek Gunn had to say was, like, he has him over a barrel. Like, he's making all this kind of money, and it's really tough to get rid of him. And I'm thinking, wait a second. We're actually entertaining the notion of getting rid of him? We went through this with Carson Wentz. There was a legitimate reason for that. This team is 8-2. They're the number one in the power rankings. They're the favorite to get to the Super Bowl. Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, well, so that's therein lies the difference, right? It's why you're more willing to put up with the frustration because, yes, the Eagles are the best team in football. They're the most talented team in football, and they are the best team, even though they don't have the best record. I mean, you got 2 teams in the AFC that are 9-2. But they are the best team. Until they're not the best team, you just kind of put up with it. You kind of deal with it, and you let people like you and me talk about it. But once if it starts to go south, then those rumblings of what D Gunn is saying kind of, maybe they come more to the forefront.
But it's not south. It's a thing.
Right.
First of all, let me remind the people that are watching this that you can comment on this. And I'd love to hear your comments on what you think this is, because this has kind of come out of nowhere. It's a peculiar situation that there's some kind of disconnect between the quarterback and the team. And the team's not struggling. They're 8-2. They just beat the Lions. They beat the Packers the week before. They beat two contending teams in the NFC. And I'm scratching my head going, what are we what is the problem here? Is there a problem? So at any event, we have to deal with this kind of thing. Now, as far as Jalen Hurts goes this week against the Dallas Cowboys, he's probably going to have to show some things. I don't know what they can do. But one of the things that obviously was mentioned last week in the broadcast, they have to open their attack up, have him more as a running threat, even though that puts him in peril. That they have to run more design runs because it opens up everything they do. Are you on the side of protecting Jalen or letting him fly like that?
See, I'm kind of the hybrid, and I hate to be the guy that hedges, Mike, but I wouldn't let him fly. But I also don't like the fact that he doesn't run the ball at all. Like, I think that there needs to be the threat of it. And I think the threat of him running gives you a little bit more room for Saquon, and then therefore opens up your passing game. So I do think they need to run more, just not go hog wild with it.
Okay, I agree. He knows how to protect himself, I think. At least he's learned how to protect himself. So to me, the risk and reward is if you open up your entire offense, which needs opening up, my God, the running game needs to be opened up. If that's the thing that's going to do it, then I guess you got to bite the bullet. All right, now let's get to this other topic, which should bring in some discussion in the chat. This notion: can you win a Super Bowl without a good offense? It's not good. It's okay. It's not good offense, but it's a great defense. And when you think back in time, two defenses come to mind. The most recent one, the 2000 Baltimore Ravens with Ray Lewis and Ed Reed, all those guys, and they had quarterback Trent Dilfer as their quarterback. And then you go back to 1985 Bears. Well, Buddy Ryan was the defensive coach of that 4-6 defense, and blah, 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 blah. So I just want to go over the Eagles' offensive numbers right now. If we can flip that on the screen, Matt. The Eagles are averaging 23.4 points per game, about pedestrian 16th in the league. Passing yards per game, they are 28th, Anthony. Rushing yards per game, they are 17th. Total offensive yards per game, not bad at 10. Total rushing yards per game, 9. And all those numbers that improve as you go down. Third down conversion rate is 38%. Fourth down conversion rate is 11%. Total offensive yards, total passing yards, touchdowns, all that. Okay. They're not great numbers, but can you overcome those numbers with a great defense? Let's look at the Chicago Bears in 1985. They had a great rushing attack. That's really all they had. They had Willie Gault as a wide receiver. They had Jim McMahon as their quarterback. He threw for 2,300 yards that year, which is not a lot. Walter Payton rushed for 1,551, which is significant. They scored 456 points, which was second in the NFL, just based on their running game. But the bottom line is we all knew they won because of their defense. Now, if you go to the Ravens, the same thing. You look at the Ravens, they were very pedestrian, 14th in the NFL in points. They were 16th in the NFL in total yards. Passing yards, they were 15th in the league. They had Jamal Lewis, who had a great year, 1,300 yards. Trent Dilfer passed for 1,502 yards that year, and that was a team that wound up winning the Super Bowl. So here's the question. The age-old question is, can this Eagle team win a Super Bowl with the defense, which I think is better than last year's defense? It's a stifling defense that has allowed 7 and 9 points the last 2 years. Can you win with that kind of defense with the offense that's pedestrian like they are?
Yes. You just gave two examples of it, Mike.
And they're spread out. They're a long time ago.
Well, yeah, I'll give you. But Jason Calhoun chimes in and says the Seahawks. We had the Legion of Boom. They didn't have a great offense. Okay. And the Broncos on Peyton's last year, when he couldn't throw the ball at all, they had a tremendous defense and they won a Super Bowl. So you have two more teams that are a little bit more recent as well that kind of fit into that mold. So the answer is yes. There's a team. The team can win a Super Bowl with this defense.
And I agree with you 100%. What I've seen of this defense, I go, my God, who is going to beat this team with that defense as you go all the way down the line and you get to the playoffs? And now it's always possible somebody has a great offensive game against you and wins, but this defense is so impressive that I can't imagine that they couldn't win a Super Bowl defense. So people are chiming in that you can't do it. You have to have an offense too. You have to outscore some teams, and yeah, you do. But this defense is so good that I don't worry about that right now. I think the Eagles are a bona fide Super Bowl contender, and we're talking about all this. It's amazing to me because they're the number one ranked team in football, and they almost already had clinched the number one seed going into the playoffs. And we're worried about this and that. We're worried about Jalen Hurts disconnect. We're worried about whether the defense can win over a bad offense. So all those stuff. The Eagles just bring out the drama.
Yeah, and so here's the thing, the way I look at it, Mike, and you said it right. I mean, yes, could another team potentially have a great offensive game against you? Of course, that does still, it's still a possibility. But the reality of it is, when you play against the Eagles, you have to have almost everything go your way. to beat the Eagles because of the Eagles defense. You can't be slightly below your A game and expect to beat the Eagles. I mean, I felt the Detroit Lions gave the Eagles some of the game. I mean, I know the Eagles only scored 3 points off those 5 fourth down conversions, but like if he plays field position a little bit more with them instead of going for it on fourth down, maybe there's a different outcome in that game. I don't know. But I think that the Lions were off and the Eagles threw them off because of the way they played defensively.
I totally agree. They took them completely out of their game. Yeah. That team that usually has a swagger on offense looks scared to death.
Yeah,
against that defense.
Jalen Phillips makes a big difference out there.
He really does. A brilliant acquisition. All right. A.J. Brown, any controversy? Well, this week, some news comes out, Anthony, that A.J. promised Mr. Owner, sir, Jeffrey Lurie, that he would not complain about his situation anymore on social media. How do you feel about that? You feel that did that happen? Is that a fabrication? And if it did happen, does he really mean it?
Hey, Big Dom arranged that little sit down, right? Big Dom brought him over to the sideline. They had a little 10-minute conversation between Jeffrey and AJ, and he makes that promise. Look, he said it, and they fed him the ball, Mike, this past week, so he's not going to complain coming off of that. But I bet you, as soon as he has one of those, 2 or 3 catch games where he's not used, not targeted, not relevant, and the media circles around him at his locker, I'm sure he's going to have something to say.
Is he going to break his word to Mr. Owner? You know what's funny about this? Like if I own,
well, it wouldn't be on social media. That wouldn't be on social media. So technically, he wouldn't be breaking his word.
Social media. AJ's fingers would have to be paralyzed for him not to do anything on social media. To be honest with you, it's just the itch is there for the guy. And I wondered through this whole thing, what Big Dom had to bring him over to Jeffrey Lurie to have a conversation. Like if I'm Jeffrey Lurie, would I have enough clout to just pick up the phone and go, okay, I got his digits. Hey, call him. AJ, Jeff, listen, man, I love you. I'm paying you a lot of money. We're all good here. We're all happy. Can you do me a favor? Can you stop complaining on social media? Do you have that kind of, do you have to have Big Dom intermediate the whole thing?
This is what we talked about a couple weeks ago, Mike, and this is the thing that blows my mind more than anything else. Because, look, I think Jason Kelsey's right that there's always going to be some kind of conflict as everybody's trying to pull on the same rope to try and get the end result that you want. But this has been enabled by the coaching staff, by the management, by the owner. Like, why haven't these conversations happened before? Why weren't they nipping it in the bud before it became a big public thing? Like, I don't understand why they let it continue to happen.
Or Lurie calls Howie, nip this in the bud, yo.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, how does it get to the point where you have to have the Big Dom intermediate a situation where you have to bring over A.J. Brown? First of all, what's A.J. Brown going to say right there?
Right.
We'd like you to stop. No, I ain't stopping. What's he going to do? He's got the owner in front of him and signs his checks. Like, what's he going to do about it?
Right. Exactly.
No, I ain't stopping. Sorry, Jay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's look at the playoff scenario for right now.
Yeah.
Eagles, number 1. Rams, 2. Bears, 3. Bucks, 4. Seahawks, 5. Packers, 6. 49ers, 7. So that would be Rams, Niners, Bears, Packers, Bucks, Seahawks, first round with the Eagles sitting in the catbird seat with the number 1 seed. Now, power rankings. Who was your personal power rankings? We know the Eagles are number 1. We know the Rams are number 2. Who would you have in the third slot?
League-wide or just the NFC?
This is league-wide.
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 I'm riding Denver.
Denver, 4, according to the Athletics power rankings.
Yeah.
3, the Colts. 5, Patriots.
Yeah.
How about this? 6, Seahawks. 7, Bills, drop it. 8, sunk. The Lions after getting beat by the Eagles. Now in the 8th slot, Bucks 9, Packers 10. Now, I want you to look at those teams, and you tell me, with the Eagles offense the way it is, but with their defense playing the way there is, with A.J. Brown controversy, with nobody liking Jalen Hurts in the huddle or in the locker room or on the street, who beats that Eagle team with all those teams? You're going to tell me the Colts?
No. The only
Maybe
team,
the Rams, the NFC
Rams.
title game, Rams and Eagles in Philadelphia. Who you got?
Yeah, and that's the only team that I think that can play with the Eagles is the Rams at this point. I'm pretty certain of that. Like the one thing that I worry about, Mike, is with Lane Johnson being hurt now and potentially missing significant time. And I know that there are some easier games left on the Eagles schedule. You got the Raiders, you got the Commanders twice, right? Like, you should beat Dallas this week, although I think it's going to be probably closer than a lot of people think it's going to be. But if you don't get that home field and you end up having to play an extra week, and then you ultimately have to go out to LA to play the Rams in the NFC Championship game, that's the place where I think it could flip. But I think you're looking at those two teams are on a collision course, whether it's in Philadelphia or whether it's in Los Angeles, playing each other for the right to go to the Super Bowl.
Totally agree. Now, I'm going to be Kevin Petullo for a second. I can make you Kevin Petullo, one or the other.
Okay.
I got a statistic in front of me. It says, without Lane Johnson, my running game goes from 4.6 per carry to 2.4.
Yeah.
If I'm Kevin Petullo, what am I doing?
Well, the running game wasn't great to begin with, right? I mean, think about it.
It's a very simple answer. It's more of a simple answer than you think. I run to the left.
Yeah, go to the other, run the other side. Well, one of the things that they've been doing,
to the left. I run behind my Lada.
Yeah, one of the things that they've been doing is, they've been going with that 6 lineman thing on certain plays.
Yeah,
right?
that's fine. I got that.
Have to probably do a little bit more of that.
And run to the side that's not as weak.
Yeah, I agree. But I also think
listen, I'm no mastermind offensive coordinator, but that would be one thing I'd take a note. Run left. Yeah, write down in my little notepad. All right, we got some baseball.
Or throw the ball more.
Or throw the ball more, but we're afraid because we don't believe in Jalen now, and he won't throw the ball.
Right.
So all the stuff will play out. Baseball chatters coming up. We got Todd Zolecki, covers the Phillies for MLB.com, coming up with us, and we'll talk about all some issues in the offseason. A lot of stuff going on with baseball and the off season, the trades that are happening right now. One of the guys that the Phillies coveted, Taylor Ward, gets dealt for a pretty good prospect.
Yeah,
to the Baltimore Orioles. Snatched him right under the nose. All right, that's coming up. We'll take a break, baseball chat, and we'll have our Eagles-Cowboys preview. A lot more to go on the show. It's the On Pattison podcast with Mike Missinelli and Anthony Sanfilippo. Todd Zolecki coming up at exactly 2:30. We're back after this.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. Warm up this fall with an incredible seafood boil. Try the Uncle George with succulent snow crabs, tasty mussels, and shrimp. There's the Pete's Feast with 2 pounds of sweet succulent crab legs, a dozen shrimp, clams, and a pound of mussels. Or create your own boil. Add a lobster tail or a delicious Dungeness cluster. Include smoked sausage, corn, and potatoes, served in our tasty broth, made with white wine and our signature seasonings. A shellfish lover's dream at Chickies and Pete's.
Hi, this is Tommy Green from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. Every champion needs a good game plan. BCWSA and I want to make sure you have a game plan when it comes to conserving our most precious resource, water. Whether you're washing dishes, brushing your teeth, or watering your garden, there are ways you can save water and save money. Visit bcwsa.net for tips on conserving water. BCWSA, proven.
Your day-to-day life is hectic between having to pick up the kids, make dinner, the countless other tasks that you got to get done. Rob's Automotive and Collision is there to make your life a whole lot easier. Make sure you take advantage of their spacious waiting rooms, the large flat-screen TVs, complimentary coffee and muffins, and free Wi-Fi. So even when you do have to stop, Rob's is there to make you feel right at home. Give Rob's a call today at 215-826-9200 for any of your auto repair needs. The Peruzzi Automotive Group on Business Route 1 in Fairless Hills is looking for auto techs, all skill levels. Here's a chance to work for a locally owned family business that offers many benefits. For more information, call the service director, John Damarotis, at 215-943-6200. That's 215-943-6200, or visit any Peruzzi service department.
All right, we're back on the On Pattison podcast. I'm Mike Missinelli with Anthony Sanfilippo, who covers the Phillies, by the way, for On Pattison.
You call it the On Pattison podcast, Mike, but Ford calls it On Pattison Paisans.
On Pattison Paisans? All right.
Yeah, we got a guy said that. Yeah.
You down with OPP?
You down with, you know me.
All right. In any event, we got a lot of people joining on the chat. Anthony, you cover this team, and the 40-man roster was solidified. Just tell people what that means exactly and who they added.
Yeah, so the 40-man roster, actually Phillies have a little bit of room left on the 40-man roster. They added Andrew Painter, which was no surprise. They obviously think that he's going to be part of the rotation next year. They added Gabriel Rincones Jr., who is a right-handed hitting, he's an outfielder, and he shows a little bit of pop this year down in AAA. I think that they think that he could potentially be in the mix as maybe like a fourth outfielder type kind of thing. And they added a guy named Alex McFarland, who was drafted as a pitcher, a starting pitcher, but I think he's going to be moved into more of a relief role. And they think that he's a guy that has a shot at challenging for a bullpen spot for the Phillies.
Let me ask you a question about Painter. I assumed was on the 40-man roster all along. What, he was not?
He didn't have to be because he was exempt from Rule 5. No, because of his age, right? So at a certain point, I forget what the exact breakdown is. It's after 3 years eligible. I forget whatever it is. But then at some point, you have to either be added to the 40-man or you're exposed to other teams in the Rule 5 draft. So they put these guys on their 40-man so no other teams can take them. I guess the one surprise was Griff McGarry, who was like their pitcher of the year. He had a huge bounce back after being terrible in 2024. He was once like a highly touted prospect, terrible in 24, bounced back this past year. He was not added to the 40-man. So I think that there's a chance that they lose him at the winter meetings when the Rule 5 draft happens.
Oh, we're going to lose Griff, huh? Well, they've been trying to turn Griff McGarry into a pitcher for 5 years.
Yes, they have. It's
really kind of ridiculous. All right, so we're back to, and this is what I want to definitely talk to you about Zolecki about, the Castellanos problem. It seems like every day there's a story about what are you going to do with Castellanos? What are you going to do with Castellanos? Is he actually movable at all? What's going on behind the scenes?
First of all, and speaking of,
by the way,
Todd's here.
Todd's here. Look at the baseball card. Can I take all those down from your wall and try to sell them? I bet you I get a good haul for those.
Sadly, they're not worth anything. These are all the cards I got when I was, in the mid '80s, early '90s, when the hobby went down the toilet.
You got Wilbur Wood back there and Gus Triandos.
I've got not quite that old, but I got a lot.
Don Mossy.
I've got I got some Rob Deers.
Oh, Rob Deer.
Some Bud Blacks back in the day.
There you go.
Jeffrey Leonard, guys like that.
Jeffrey Leonard. From West Philly. Jeffrey Leonard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Philadelphia.
Rob Deer from outer space. Did you cover Rob Deer?
I did not. No, I did not cover Rob Deer. But as a guy who grew up in Wisconsin, I loved Rob Deer for the few years he mashed.
Well, let me tell you a quick Rob Deer story. When I was the writer for the Inquirer many, many moons ago, I was doing a story on Paul Mahler, who had that long hitting streak. Yeah, and his locker was right next to Rob Deer. And Rob Deer, for some reason, had this really obscene thing hanging down from his locker. I can't even describe what it is, because it's like, you've been in a million locker rooms. Baseball players are just out of their minds nuts.
They are. I think that stuff is toned down a bit just because of social media and whatnot, and you see less of that craziness these days.
Yeah, a lot of cameras now on phones and things have prevented players from displaying their personalities.
So Todd Zolecki for, of course, MLB.com covers the Phillies. We're just talking about the Castellanos problem. Maybe you can enlighten us even further on this, because it seems to be a story every day, about what they're going to do with Castellanos. So what do you think's happening?
Well, I think they're trying to trade him right now, and I don't know if it's going to happen anytime soon. Because if you're a team that needs a right-handed hitting corner outfielder, you see what everybody else sees in Major League Baseball is that Nick Castellanos graded out. I don't know how much stock you guys put into WAR, but Baseball Reference Fangraphs, he graded out as the worst player, qualified player in Major League Baseball this season. Not a good defender in right field. there were some, issues with Rob Thompson this year, which, is, I'm sure every team is aware of. And so I think if you need that right-handed corner outfield bat, you're probably waiting. You're looking for other things. We saw what happened yesterday with the Orioles and Angels. The Orioles traded young, talented, controllable pitcher, hurt a lot, in Grayson Rodriguez. They sent him to Anaheim for Taylor Ward. So I think other teams are going to try to exhaust all their options first. And in the end, the Phillies might not be able to trade him for any, even if they eat $15 million, even if they eat $16 million, they might not be able to trade him. They might end up just releasing him at some point, but I would be very, very surprised. I would be very surprised if Nick Castellanos is back in Philly, in the Phillies clubhouse in Clearwater.
If they release him, would they have to eat that whole salary, and whoever pays him the minimum?
Correct. Yes, they would have to eat they would have to eat all of that salary, and $20 million is a lot to eat, but I feel like they've just come to the point now where they all agree that it's time to part ways. Dave Dombrowski's been pretty vocal about it. He's been pretty honest and candid this season about a lot of things, but he was asked in October about at that postseason wrap up postmortem, and he basically said, I don't really discuss individual players specifically on my roster, and then proceeded to discuss everybody on the roster other than Nick, which said something, right? And then at the GM meetings, which I was not at last week in Las Vegas, he used the phrase change of scenery. So very unusual for somebody in that position to say, yeah, I think a change of scenery would make sense. And then they bring that player back. I think he's letting everybody know that we're going to move on from him.
Quick question for you on this, Todd. Do you think that they would prefer to move on from him sooner rather than later? Or do you think that they look at it and say, the closer it gets to spring training, teams might be more desperate to get what they need at that point, and maybe we can get somebody to take on a small percentage of that salary?
Yeah, I think if they could get something done today, they would love to do it. And, I don't know, maybe next week they just go, you know what, there's no market for him. We don't see it happening. We're just going to release him, make him a free agent. And that certainly could happen. But in a sense, because they're already locked into paying him, they probably know at this point they're going to have to pay him a lot. They could just hold on to him, like you said, Anthony, and just wait and see if anything develops on the market. Maybe there's a team out there that strikes out on option A, B, and C, and the Phillies call them up and say, hey, what if we give you, again, what if we pay $17 million? You don't think you wouldn't take Nick Castellanos on a $3 million deal, essentially? Nice bounce back candidate. He's going into his free agent year. He's going to be motivated to get another contract. That's possible, so I think they're going to try to do what they can with that.
Sounds like a good deal. You should make that deal. Sounds like you got it all done. That was simple. Here's the thing, Todd. I want to ask you a question about. He seems to be oblivious about all those metrics. Like when the metrics came up, he wanted to have a copy of it. I guess if you have personal pride, you don't want to admit that you qualify as the worst graded player in baseball. But you find it odd that he never really bought into that.
Yes, I think it's strange that especially that he would voice it publicly and have that run in with Rob Thompson in the dugout in Miami in June. A lot of people will point out, Nick Castellanos remember, I think it was the next game he started in Miami, he made a running catch at the warning track in Miami to end the game. And it was like, oh my gosh, that's baseball, right? Nick Castellanos makes this great catch to end the game. But if you looked at the overhead, and I have the ability to do this on my laptop, you can look at the overhead ballpark cam, and he got a really, really bad jump at that ball. The ball was hit, he kind of paused, he kind of went this way, and then he kind of broke back, and then he barely got to it because he got such a bad jump on it. So it's just, and those types of things all the time. Usually, a lot of times when you see Nick make a running catch at the wall, it's because he got a really bad jump on the ball. And so it's weird that he wouldn't kind of see that and acknowledge that. He works hard. He's certainly a prideful player. I totally understand that. He's worked hard at his defense. I've seen him out there a lot with Paco Figueroa, the outfield coach. But to be in the situation that the Phillies were in and have like a 1-run lead in the 9th inning and not understand why you're being taken out of a game is just crazy to me. And, Pat Burrell had one of the biggest egos of any player I've ever covered. And, toward the end in 2008 and throughout the 2008 postseason, who was finishing every win that the Phillies had in the postseason left field? It was Eric Bruntlett. Eric Bruntlett finished, I think, every game in left field if the Phillies had a lead. And Pat Burrell was like, yeah, okay, he can run down a ball better than me. I'll go out, I'll sit on the bench and be a cheerleader the last couple innings. And there was no issue there. So it was surprising to see somebody like Nick give so much pushback about it.
I would take that worse than Castellanos is taking it. That Eric Bruntlett would have to.
He's not even an outfielder. He wasn't even an outfielder.
He was a utility infielder for crying out loud.
Yeah, I know.
Rob Manfred's had a very interesting week. He wrapped up a new media deal, NBC, Netflix, and ESPN, but also the gambling scandal looms. So what kind of a week did he have? Is it 50-50 or what's going on here with baseball?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's been a crazy week. A lot of those stories coming out with the gambling, and obviously they've tried to. They've gotten rid of the parlay bets on some of this stuff, and they're trying to obviously nip that in the bud. But it is what it is now. Gambling is legal. It's every sports league is involved with it and in it. And so it's not going to go away. So they're going to hopefully this will kind of get rid of some of those issues with Clase and Luis Ortiz, the TV deal that's in effect. Now you've got Netflix, ESPN, NBC. I think that's just the way it is. And I know a lot of people don't like having all these different streaming options, but that's just the way it is. I mean, look at the NFL. You got Amazon, you've got and all the other networks, obviously. That's just the way it is. They're trying to make money. They're trying to, and it's just not going to go away. Any of that stuff.
The gambling books and these prop bets, how did they get them to move on that? Because that's a monster source of revenue for them.
Yeah, honestly, that part I do not know how they like the inner workings of those details, but it seemed to be a pretty quick resolution in that when it came out, everybody was on board. Maybe it's the fact that they're basically league partners. That part I do not know, Mike. But I'm glad. Hopefully that will get rid of those issues because obviously you don't want those in baseball. You don't want players involved in that, and you want everybody to feel like the game is on the up and up, and that when a pitcher spikes the ball in the dirt, it's because he actually spiked his slider in the dirt, not because he was involved in some nefarious activities.
I think that there's a benefit for the sports books to have that cleaned up because. They'll, what I'm saying? I mean, it's not like they got rid of it completely. I mean, you can still bet. It's just that there's a cap on the amount of betting that you can do on these player props. But I think it's beneficial for them to know that the game has integrity as opposed to it being under some shroud of doubt, right? I mean,
right.
I think so. It benefits them as much as it benefits the sport.
Yeah, now it's capped at $200 for a bet like that. So, again, maybe that. But it was just, honestly, it was just a bizarre story. I was reading everything about it just to see that happened and kind of like the behind the scenes stuff. It's wild. I mean, somebody will write a book about that.
Give me one story that you picked up on that with the Clase thing.
Well, I think it was just the fact that he was, to me, the strangest thing was that he was texting people during games, like, are you ready? And, whatever the phrases were that he was sending to his buddies. It was just kind of like the fact that he was actually on his phone during games, talking about this stuff or hinting at it is pretty wild because, players generally are not on their phones during a game, communicating with anybody. Usually they're in their lockers and it's like, hey, I'll see, whoever they need to talk to, they talk to after the game or
What's
before.
going to happen to those guys as players?
I can't imagine they pitch in baseball ever again. I mean, that's,
really?
Yeah, I mean, I besides who knows what's going to happen on the legal end of it, but I guess Major League Baseball has said that they will decide on whatever punishment will be before spring training or around spring training. So I'm sure they're just kind of like trying to tie up any loose ends and make sure everything is airtight before they announce anything.
We're talking to Todd Zolecki, MLB.com, covering the Phillies. Todd, last thing, right now seems to be a calm know what they're going to do. We know what they have to do. They have to add bullpen. There's that Bohm situation. What vibe are you getting right now? Are they in a holding pattern, or are they actively trying to make some kind of move?
I think they are active. They want to get something done. They want to shake some things up if possible. Obviously, they really want to bring back Kyle Schwarber. They really want to bring back JT Realmuto. And if they can shake up the lineup in some way, shape, or form, they would definitely like to do that. I think they are willing to trade from their major league roster. I mean, Alec Bohm has been. They tried to trade him last offseason. They didn't really find anything. They have, and I wrote about this the first day that Dave talked. The way he responded to Matt Strom's criticism about PFPs, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets traded or one of the other left-handers in the bullpen. They have a surplus there. If they wanted, depending on what the offer is, you could see Bryson Stott get moved. You could see Brandon Marsh get moved because, they have to do something to kind of re-energize this lineup or give it a different look. But I think right now they are focused on getting Schwarber back. They're getting Realmuto back, but they're trying to be flexible because they know that they can't, quote unquote, run it back. I know everybody likes to say run it back. I don't think they want to run it back. They want to run it back this year or next year.
Do they meet any price for Schwarber?
Pardon me?
Do they meet any price for Schwarber?
Do they meet any price?
Yeah.
I don't think they meet any price, but I don't know if anybody is going to beat them. In other words, like I could see the Phillies going 5 years, $150 million, like a $30 million AAV. Maybe they go a little bit north of that. But I don't see any other team going beyond that. You know what I mean? So I don't see, like everybody talks about the Red Sox, this Pirates thing. I would be absolutely floored if the Pirates, did something like that. I would be more floored if Schwarber accepted a big offer from the Pirates, say they made one, just because you'd be knowing that you'd be the last big move that they would make, and you still probably aren't going to win, and Schwarber wants to win. So I think the Phillies, they won't meet any price, but I don't think they're going to need to, because I don't think anybody else is going to go, all right, we're going to give Kyle Schwarber a 7-year deal. We're going to give him a 6-year deal, anything like that.
Last thing I have for you, Todd, going back to Alec Bohm. Do you think that, knowing that they tried last year and they didn't get what they thought that he was worth, do they look at it this year, a year later, and say, okay, maybe he's not worth what we thought, and we'll be more motivated to move him for a little bit less than we maybe would have a season ago?
Yeah, possibly, especially because now they have Aiden Miller kind of knocking on the door. I would be surprised if he made the opening day roster. But the fact that he's kind of knocking on the door, he could play third base. Maybe you trade Alec Bohm for a lesser talent, but to clear salary. That would maybe allow you to go out and sign another free agent. Maybe get more creative in what you can do. So yeah, I think they could be a little bit more flexible. I don't know exactly what they were holding out for last winter, what they were expecting necessarily, but the reality is the reality. Alec Bohm, all-star 2 years ago. But you look at his overall numbers the past few years, he had back-to-back 97 RBI seasons, but he's just slightly above average, league average offensive player, and he's maybe a league average defensive player, third baseman, maybe a little bit below that. So you're not going to go out and get, a stud starter or a stud reliever, I don't think, for Alec Bohm, but you could clear some salary to maybe do some other things.
All right. Todd Zolecki, always a pleasure to talk to him, especially in the off season. And let me see if I can grab one of those. Give me an Alan Trammell.
I definitely have some Alan Trammels on there.
Trammell. See, Trammell might be worth something, man. You don't paste that on your wall.
These cards aren't worth anything, believe me. Anything from the mid 80s. I've talked with Matt Strom about this a lot. He's a big baseball card guy. He's like anything from like 1985 to 1992. It almost doesn't matter who's on the card. Totally worthless.
And that was the year. That's when I was growing up collecting cards. So everything that I have is not worth a damn at this point. That's
very rare to have anything worth anything from that.
I got a 1960 Nellie Fox.
That might be worth something. That might be worth something.
With that square bat, you see it. All right, Todd, always a pleasure. We'll talk to you.
Thanks, guys. See you.
Thanks,
Todd Zolecki from Major League Baseball. So there you go, little Phillies action here. You covered a team. You on board with him? What he had to say about what they're going to do?
Yeah, pretty much so. I mean, I wrote a story a couple weeks ago before the report came out that they might trade Matt Strahm, that they should maybe think about trading Matt Strahm. It's a position of when you look at where the Phillies' positions of strength are, right? It's certainly within their pitching staff. It's certainly not in their farm system except for the very top end of it. So what do? You sit there and go, okay, where can we get 2 for 1 of something that helps the team? And there's not a lot of left-handed pitchers in the free agency market for left-handed relievers. So I thought you can move one of those 3 guys, but they have no velocity. So you're not moving Alvarado. Tanner Banks is really cheap at like $1.2 million, so you're not moving him. But Strahm, with that higher salary, $7 million, maybe you can flip him for 2 relievers that are making less, and maybe they're right-handed relievers, which is where you're lacking, and maybe they throw with velocity, which is also with where you're lacking. So, I think that's a place that the Phillies can upgrade by trading from a position of strength, an area of strength.
All right, sounds good. When we come back, we'll preview the Eagles and Cowboys. We'll get into some Sixers stuff. Paul George back for 1 game. Big win over the Clippers and a loss to the Raptors last night. I got to be honest with you. Is it still fun to watch them? I don't know. I tried to watch them again last night, and I will talk to the people. I want to hear from the people about the Sixers because it seems like there's energy in the building. Everybody's still on board for the Sixers making runs, and I just look at it and I go, I don't know what's up. Let's take a break. It is the On Pattison podcast with Mike Missinelli, Anthony Sanfilippo with me. We're back after this.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. Warm up this fall with an incredible seafood boil. Try the Uncle George with succulent snow crabs, tasty mussels, and shrimp. There's the Pete's Feast with 2 pounds of sweet succulent crab legs, a dozen shrimp, clams, and a pound of mussels. Or create your own boil. Add a lobster tail or a delicious Dungeness cluster. Include smoked sausage, corn, and potatoes, served in our tasty broth, made with white wine and our signature seasonings. A shellfish lover's dream at Chickies and Pete's.
The Peruzzi Automotive Group on Business Route 1 in Fairless Hills is looking for auto techs, all skill levels. Here's a chance to work for a locally owned family business that offers many benefits. For more information, call the service director, John Damarotis, at 215-943-6200. That's 215-943-6200, or visit any Peruzzi service department.
Think banking hasn't changed? Think again. At Penn Community Bank, we've been helping communities thrive for 150 years. From our nationally recognized Access Checking that offers the peace of mind of no overdrafts, to student and free checking plus options with perks that will make you wonder what you did without them, like early direct deposit, overdraft grace, and Zelle. Learn more at PennCommunityBank.com/products. Penn Community Bank. Here we grow. Account and feature terms, restrictions, and conditions apply. Ask for full details. Member FDIC.
This is Tommy Green from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. Every champion needs a good game plan. BCWSA and I want to make sure you have a game plan when it comes to conserving our most precious resource, water. Whether you're washing dishes, brushing your teeth, or watering your garden, there are ways you can save water and save money. Visit bcwsa.net for tips on conserving water. BCWSA, proven.
Oh, we're back already. My God. Caught me off guard there. Anyway, it's the On Pattison podcast with Mike Missinelli and Anthony Sanfilippo. So let's quickly with the Sixers. They're not a bad team, right? They're not a bad team. They got a bunch of players that play hard. Maxey's having an all-world season. Quentin Grimes has really been good off the bench. Edgecombe's kind of hit the wall. Jared McCain doesn't look like he's really finding it yet. They're an okay team, but I find myself going, it's difficult for me to watch them. Now, what is it about me that makes it difficult for me to watch the Sixers?
Mike, I don't think you're alone because we had the Snow the Goalie podcast at Chickies and Pete's last night. We were up in Northeast Philly. And after the show is over, show ended around 7:00. I'm standing there talking to a couple people, and I looked up at the screen and I'm like, "Oh, the Sixers are on." And I'm like, there was nothing within me that was like, "Oh man, let me go rush to the car so I can put it on the radio or hurry home so I can go watch the second half of that game." I was just like, "Oh, the Sixers are on." And like I feel the same way. And I used to watch every game with intensity, like as much as I could. I love basketball, right? And I would go to watch them. And now I'm like, all right. If they're on and I happen to catch it, I'll watch it. That's kind of how I feel about them.
There's a buzz in the arena, which is interesting to me.
Yeah.
But I don't wait. I got to X out of this whole thing. I was trying to get up a box score, and I got the sound instead. I don't know what it is. Like I look at guys like Justin Edwards and all these guys, Dominic Barlow, and all these guys that they keep running in and run out, and they're okay. They're okay players. They don't stay. There's nobody on that team like he stinks. Like I used to do with Furkan Korkmaz. But I don't know. I just don't. The Embiid situation, the Paul George situation, it's just really hard to get engaged with that disjointed team like that.
Yeah. Here's something like Ford checks in. He says, they're more fun to watch than they had been, but they play no defense. So the sense is always that even if they score a ton, there's a 50-50 shot that they lose. And I get that, right? I mean, that's... Yeah. Okay, they're fun. They can be a little bit more fun to watch than maybe in the past couple of years. But you're right. There's a lot of fatigue with the stars of the team that not named Tyrese Maxey that kind of weigh more heavily on that.
Yeah, like last night, they start Edwards, Barlow, Drummond with the two guards.
Yeah.
And I look at the lineup and they're ready to tip it off, and I'm going, what? I'm not, it's like not exciting for me.
Yeah.
And then off the bench, Wofford, Walker, Grimes played 32 minutes off the bench. And he's been giving them pretty good effort. McCain, 14. He looks like he's really struggling. But I don't know. I hope Ford says they're more fun than they had been. Are they? Are they fun? Maybe they are. Maybe they're not.
They score a lot.
BJ has already hit the rookie wall. He kind of has hit the rookie wall.
Yeah.
But
he hit it.
I think
he hit it early.
It's going to take him a while.
He hit it early.
NBA is different than playing a little bit in college, boy.
Yeah. Yeah, it certainly is. It certainly is different.
All right, let's look at we got a lot of I want to try this out with the people. I came this guy sent me his videos.
Oh,
and it's a new segment we're gonna debut here on the On Pattison podcast, and it's like the typical Philadelphia sports talk caller. I miss the days of sports talk when it was really energized, way back when you were doing it back and forth with the caller and the host. Yeah. And so this is a typical guy. We're going to call this Sports Talk Squawk with our man Gabe. Now, Gabe is just a fictional caller, but this is what Gabe would be. If he were a sports talk caller, this is what Gabe would be. And he's calling a fictional sports talk host named John. So this has nothing to do with anybody in town. This is just a generic name that he picked out of the air. So here is the debut of Sports Talk Squawk.
AJ? Of course he's not, John. He's like my old lady. Give them everything they want. They'll still find something to complain about. Not even the refs bailing him out could give this guy a decent game. Oh, we just need to get him the ball more. You see why we can't now, John? He can't even get open. Andy Reid's thighs can get more separation than this guy. He's a walking blooper reel. When he ain't dropping passes or giving up on routes, he's tripping over a worm and falling into somebody's legs for a 15-yard penalty. Go back to playing Twitch, AJ, because the only way you're sniffing a 100-yard game is in Madden. Speaking of Twitch, I thought the CTE stuff was all propaganda, John, till I seen Dan Gamble try to call a game. I'll tell you what, if he didn't treat that game like a blackjack table at 3 a.m., we'd have lost. He's like me at Harris. Can't stomach losing, so keep storming back to the ATM. I told you the Lions were a joke. Can we please stop acting like they're a threat? The Lions are a threat to the Eagles like Zach's Hamburgers is a threat to Charlie's. Jared Goff should switch to playing Goff, okay? Because he's the worst quarterback to step foot in the link since Carson Stench. I'll tell you that right now. The only thing that shined for the Lions last night was Panzalonis and his Barbie doll hair. And I'll tell you what, not even his silky Rapunzel strands can pull this Lions team out of the dumpster. But enough about that clown show. Let's get back to this lopsided group project called the Eagles. As bad as Spatullo and that offense were, This defense is nasty. More ruthless and unyielding than the Philly Parking Authority. I'm telling you that right now. First time the Birds have won back-to-back games when scoring 16 or less points since 1935. You do the math on that one, John. Speaking of the Great Depression, this city's going to go through one if this offense don't get it together. I'll hang up and let's just talk about it.
There you go. Sports Talk Squawk, your typical disgruntled Philadelphia fan with the Delco reference in there. He always has a Delco reference in there, Anthony.
I love it. It's one of my guys. One of my guys out here in beautiful Delaware County.
That's right. You're a deep Delco guy, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm Springfield. I wouldn't call that deep Delco.
It's not deep.
It's
still not exactly deep. All right, let's look at our Eagles Cowboys preview here. Of course, the Eagles defense last week, on cylinders. 9 points the week before. They give up 7, 3 for 13 on third down, 0 for 5 on fourth. Those Lions were. The last 2 games have been phenomenal. Jalen Phillips, 6 pressures last week. They got a 41% pressure rate on Jared Goff last week. But Jalen Hurts, under 184 yards in 3 straight games. They are 16th in points. They are 28th in passing yards. They're 17th in rushing yards. And they're facing a Dallas team that's coming off a pretty big effort. Last week, Dak Prescott versus the Raiders, 268 yards, 4 touchdowns, 138.6 rate. Javonte Williams had 93 yards on the ground last week, averaging 5 yards per carry. And the Dallas defense, which normally stinks, they looked pretty good last week. They give up 16 points, 3 for 12 on third down, 1 for 3 in the red zone. But, of course, they're playing against the Raiders in that game. So I don't know how much stock. The line is surprisingly low. It's a 3.5-point line. How are you seeing this one, Ant?
I think this is a close game. I think the Eagles will win the game, right? But I think it is a close game. I think Dallas is in there the whole time. Dak's playing pretty well, and he is what he is, but he's playing pretty well. And Javonte Williams, you mentioned he's run well. He ran well against the Eagles the first time, but let's not forget Jalen Carter was kicked out of that game before the first offensive play even happened. So that changes things, I think, for me a little bit there. I'm not certain that Javonte Williams will run as well against the Eagles on Sunday. And yes, Dallas's defense is a little bit – they're bad. But they're a little bit better with the additions of Quinnen Williams and Logan Wilson, and then you get the 2 safeties back in the back end who were both hurt for a long time. So I think that they're going to be a little bit tougher than maybe a lot of people think they are. I just don't think that they're good enough to beat the Eagles. And so I think ultimately the Eagles are going to win this game, and I think it's going to be right around the spread, somewhere in that 3 to 4 point range. You're probably looking like a 24-20 game is probably what this is.
So you got a slight cover.
If I had to, I would avoid this game. If I was betting it, I would avoid it. But if I had to, I'd take the Eagles.
For some reason, I think the Eagles are going to lose this game.
It's possible. I think it's close, so it's possible.
I don't know why. I have a hunch. I normally don't apply to the they usually split in the division because the Eagles are a clearly superior team, the Dallas Cowboys. But I don't know how to call this one. I think Dallas is going to score some points in this game and maybe outpoint them.
No, it's possible.
I don't know.
Yeah, we got Provi John says we need the offense to show up in this game. Defense has played some tough games the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and you're counting on the defense to keep up that level of play, but you also the Lane Johnson factor. Fred Johnson's a nice player temporarily. When you got to start them, I don't know. There's something a little fishy about this game for me. I think the Eagles are a very confident team that they're way better than the Cowboys, and I think the Cowboys may sneak up on them pass-wise.
So if Dallas, if you're right, Mike, and Dallas does pull the upset this week, how much does that hurt the Eagles at potentially getting the number 1 seed in the NFC?
I still think they'll get it.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think the Rams will lose. Again, somewhere down the line.
They got to play at Seattle. They got to play at Seattle.
I think if there is a loss on the schedule, there's that Bills game coming up.
I think the Chargers, and the Bills.
If they lose to the Cowboys, they could lose to the Bills. But if they lose to the Cowboys, to me, they beat the Bills. Those games to me are you win one, you lose one, no matter how it goes.
Yeah, I think that there's 2 losses left on the schedule. I can see them losing both at the LA Chargers, just because they're a decent team. It's a weird spot for the Eagles go there, and I think that the Bills game is
now again, the Eagles may be benefited by I think the cold in the wind affected their offense last week. No question about it. Affected Jalen Hurts. Indoors may not affect them. Maybe they get it going offensively. I just think Dallas is going to get it done offensively. So Dallas, I think, scores like 28, 31 points in this game. No, maybe not. No, maybe not against this defense. Yeah, I don't know where to go on it. I just have a hunch. I have a hunch that the Eagles lose it. I don't know why.
Yeah.
All right. Latest college football rankings. Here are the new college football rankings, in case you're interested. Oklahoma, the 8th seed, versus Notre Dame, the 9th seed. The winner gets the privilege of playing Ohio State. 5, Texas Tech versus 12. Guess who number 12 is? The Tulane Green Wave.
Tulane! That's great.
Which plays Temple this week.
That's great.
The winner of that plays Georgia. 7, Oregon versus the 10th seed. What's the 10th seed there? Can't read
Alabama.
Oh, that's right. Alabama's the 10th seed. The winner gets Indiana. And Ole Miss 6 versus number 11 Miami. They get Texas A&M. So there you go. There's your college football.
So you look at that. So Matt, can you put that bracket back up again real quick? So Mike, if you look at this bracket, right, to me, all the best teams are on the left side. I think that you have a lot of possibility of upsets occurring on the right side of the bracket.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not a big Texas A&M guy. Really not. I like Ole Miss over there, actually, to be honest with you. To probably come.
You don't like Indiana?
I do like Indiana, but I don't. Look, they almost lost to Penn State. Well, it required an incredible catch by the receiver at the end of the game, right? And so there's some vulnerability there, I think.
Are you mocking Penn State, Mr. Gambini? Are you mocking Penn State?
Just a little bit. Just a little bit mocking Penn State. By the way, speaking of James Franklin at Virginia Tech.
We're going to get to that in a second. With our throwaways, I think it's a great job for him, by the way. But let's get to our picks of the week. I had a pretty good week last week.
Yeah, we both won last week.
I had a pretty good week last week. So let's kick it off. You want to go with your one pick?
Yeah, well, coming off of not only did I have the right side of that Denver-Kansas City game, but I predicted that Denver would win outright.
You had it outright. Yes, you did. You're on a roll.
On a roll at 2-1 overall in the season since we started this thing. I only give one game each week. And the game I'm going to give you this week is the San Francisco 49ers at -7 against the Carolina Panthers. And the way I look at it, Mike, is I think that this 49ers team is finally getting healthy, and they're hitting a point of their season where they're playing a bunch of weaker teams. And I think that they're going to kind of get rolling a little bit going forward. Their offense is back. You got Brock Purdy back out there now. I think that's a team that's poised to start playing so much better football. They could be a little bit dangerous in the playoffs. I don't think they're as good as the Eagles, but I think that they can maybe even upset some teams from a lower seed. I like the 49ers this week, and even a few games going forward as well.
By the way, I'm looking at who I picked last week. I have it right here.
Yeah.
I believe I was 4-1.
Yeah, you were.
That's great. Oregon covered against Minnesota. Oklahoma, an outright winner at Alabama. Yep. Georgia covered against Texas. The Patriots covered against the Jets. And the Texans, they were -2.5, they went to -6.5. So they won by 3. I lost that one.
Yeah.
4-1. So this week I'm going with this. Missouri. Why am I going Missouri? Well, they're playing at Oklahoma. Oklahoma, a monster win last week. This is the come-down game. I think Missouri keeps it close. Maybe Oklahoma ekes it out, but I think Missouri can actually pull the upset here.
Wow.
I'll take the 7.5.
That's a home game for them too, right?
The game is at Oklahoma, yes. No, it's not Missouri.
Oh, okay.
Game's at Oklahoma.
All right.
Duke. Christian Laettner and all those guys, I think I'm going to play them this week. Why would I bet Duke in a football game? Why? Well, Duke has gone from +3.5 to -6.5. A line move, colossal 9-point line move at North Carolina. I'll take the Dukies minus 6.5 at North Carolina.
Yeah, and that's
at
because
North Carolina, or is it at Duke?
It doesn't matter. So Belichick's too busy at his girlfriend's
All right,
cheerleading
and then I'll go
competition.
one pro game. I'll go the Steelers plus 2.5 at the Bears. All right, they're my picks.
Wow, that's interesting.
I think the Bears are finally up against something here. That game is in Chicago.
They're certainly going to be up against something when they come to Philadelphia on Black Friday. That's
all right. We got a bunch of hit or miss topics, including James Franklin of Virginia Tech. That's coming up, and also the most peculiar looking basketball uniform that we've ever seen. Made its debut this week in the Big Five. We'll talk about that as well. It is the On Pattison podcast with Mike Missinelli, Anthony Sanfilippo. Back after this.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. Warm up this fall with an incredible seafood boil. Try the Uncle George with succulent snow crabs, tasty mussels, and shrimp. There's the Pete's Feast with 2 pounds of sweet succulent crab legs, a dozen shrimp, clams, and a pound of mussels. Or create your own boil. Add a lobster tail or a delicious Dungeness cluster. Include smoked sausage, corn, and potatoes, served in our tasty broth, made with white wine and our signature seasonings. A shellfish lover's dream at Chickies and Pete's.
Think banking hasn't changed? Think again. At Penn Community Bank, we've been helping communities thrive for 150 years. From our nationally recognized Access Checking that offers the peace of mind of no overdrafts, to student and free Checking Plus options with perks that will make you wonder what you did without them, like early direct deposit, overdraft grace, and Zelle. Learn more at PennCommunityBank.com/products. Penn Community Bank. Here we grow. Account and feature terms, restrictions, and conditions apply. Ask for full details. Member FDIC.
Your day-to-day life is hectic between having to pick up the kids, make dinner, the countless other tasks that you got to get done. Rob's Automotive and Collision is there to make your life a whole lot easier. Make sure you take advantage of their spacious waiting rooms, the large flat-screen TVs, complimentary coffee and muffins, and free Wi-Fi. So even when you do have to stop, Rob's is there to make you feel right at home. Give Rob's a call today at 215-826-9200 for any of your auto repair needs.
All right, back on the On Pattison podcast with Mike Missinelli and Anthony Sanfilippo of On Pattison. A lot of people are checking my work, which is nice. I love the chat. They're checking my work. And on my Pittsburgh Steeler pick, they go, it depends if Rodgers is playing. I'm counting on him not playing. I think Mason Rudolph coming in there gives them a jolt. That's one of the reasons why I picked them. Because it's not that factor. You prepare for Aaron Rodgers and you get Mason Rudolph. You're unprepared for Mason Rudolph. I think he can move the football. So that's why I actually like if Rodgers is playing, I don't think I like him. But if the other guy's playing, I like him. The Rams, by the way, Pro John does indicate the Rams still have the Bucs, the Lions, and the Seahawks on the remaining schedule. So there's a loss in there too. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Okay. Let's get into what we call our throwaways part of the show, where we just riff on various subjects. Anthony brought it up a little later. James Franklin, former Penn State coach, goes to Virginia Tech as the head coach. I think this is a fantastic job for the guy. I think it's his level. He's in a conference which is his level. I mean, let's face it. There's an Ohio State in the ACC. Miami's the closest thing. Right? Clemson has fallen on hard times. Yeah. He goes in there and builds a program like the old days of Frank Beamer, and James Franklin gets Virginia Tech in the college football playoffs within 3 years.
I think that's a realistic thing too, Mike. The one thing that I thought was most interesting, though, is where he was talking about how the whole program needs to start thinking like a big-time program. And he's basically suggesting to you that the way that they're operating currently does not do that. So he's trying to buy himself even a little bit more time. But we know he's a good recruiter, right? You see him recruit talent to Penn State. He'll recruit some good talent to Virginia Tech, and they'll be right back.
Get the Virginia pipeline going. That's where he got a lot of players at Penn State. He's got that Virginia connection. That the Newport News area where a lot of players come out of that area. If he can get them to go to Blacksburg, that'd be fantastic. They're certainly not going to Charlottesville. They'd rather go to Blacksburg, right?
Yeah, for sure.
All those Virginia guys.
No, it's a good spot for him. I agree.
Congratulations to James Franklin. Did I like him? No, not a little bit. I thought it was time for him to go. I thought he was more about the BS than the real nuts and bolts coaching part of it. And this notion that he was a great recruiter, Yeah, but he wasn't as good as Michigan or Ohio State. So that's the bottom line for me.
But he could be a great recruiter for the ACC.
Yeah, in that conference, he can be on top pretty soon in that conference.
Yeah,
really, that's a perfect conference for him. It's like the perfect job for him was Vanderbilt. Nobody expected anything. He got some players down there. They surprised some people. Virginia Tech's got a lot more resources. He'll be fine down there. All right, the Phillies are in the Field of Dreams game, Anthony. What does that mean to you?
I think it's pretty cool, Mike. That's one of the few things that Major League Baseball does as far as an event, and it's not every year, and that's the best part about it, right? Like I think like you look at comparison to hockey when they do like the Winter Classic. I think that kind of jumped the shark because they do it every year. They have other outdoor games, and kind of the novelty of that has worn off. But the baseball doing the Field of Dreams game, they do it every so many years. So it's like this is only the third one. And so like it's kind of really cool to be able to go out into the cornfields of Iowa in the middle of nowhere and set up a baseball stadium and play a major league game. And the Phillies are going to be part of that against the Minnesota Twins on August the 13th. It's
there
going
they
to
are,
be
the children of the corn.
It's going to be awesome.
Sanchez, Harper, and Turner walking into the field. By the way, how'd you feel about that movie?
It was.
I felt the same way. I hate it. I hated Field of Dreams. It was such schmaltzy crap.
Yeah, it wasn't the best.
A lot of people love it.
Yeah, as far as baseball movies go, it's not in my top five. No.
What's in your top five for baseball movies?
Wow, that's a good question. You know what? I'll tell you what. I think that I'm not sure that this is number one because I didn't have this list prepared. But I will tell you that I love A League of Their Own. I think it's a great movie.
You don't like it? Stab me in the heart. Oh, I like it. I hate that movie.
I like that movie.
Hanks in that movie.
But I mean, Major League is funny as hell.
Come on, man. The best movie of all time, baseball or not, is The Natural.
Natural's great. It's just a little slow. The Natural's just a little slow for me.
Come on, tears come to my eye when he hits that home run in the light.
Just a little slow. 8 Men Out is a great baseball
movie. That is a very
movie.
good movie. Long.
Yeah.
Moneyball.
Moneyball's a good one.
Solid.
Moneyball's good. Yeah, it's solid.
Solid. Bull Durham.
It's a little misleading, but it's solid.
Yeah, Bull Durham, solid.
Bull Durham's awesome. I forgot how I didn't say Bull Durham.
There are better baseball movies than there are any other sport.
Shame on me for not saying Bull Durham. Yes, right. Bull Durham's up there.
Move on.
Certainly. Yeah.
The St. Joseph Hawks unveiled a uniform where it was script, right? It was written St. Joe's. And it was in like 11 type.
Look at this.
It was 11 font. Can we see do we have a shot of the front of the uniform? I guess we don't.
I mean, that's
his name. That's that guy's last name.
Look at the pen jersey.
Look
at the pen jersey. You think it's Mike? I mean, it looks like it's
the jersey
Photoshop.
Brand.
It looks like it's Photoshopped. Like it can't be serious.
It should say Nike here.
I cannot believe they put those on.
It had to be a mistake. So, like these, I guarantee. I don't know if this happened or not, but if I was covered a Big Five, I'd do some investigation. I'll guarantee you that the box of uniforms came that day. You know, so when you used to play in the youth leagues. Oh, here come the unis. And they're in a cardboard box, and you pull them open, and they got some like a crooked letter or something, and you can't do anything about it.
Jim Moss says it looks like the last row of an eye chart.
It's the most ridiculous thing. And on the front, it said St. Joe's in like really tiny script.
Yes. I don't know what they were going for with that at all.
All right. NFC East, Hard Knocks premieres December 2nd. Are you in?
I don't know. I think that we have enough of the Eagles drama on our own that we don't need to see the behind-the-scenes stuff that HBO is showing us. Like, normally I'd say yes, but I think that we have enough drama playing out publicly that I don't necessarily know if I need to watch the behind-the-scenes because I'll be disappointed. It won't be nearly as juicy as the stuff that we're getting publicly. So I'm probably out.
I don't know. I'll hold my my opinion on how juicy it gets because I don't know how juicy it's going to get. I'm not interested in the other teams in the conference, to be honest with you, or in the division. I'm interested in the Eagles behind the scenes. I don't get enough behind the scenes to the Eagles. Like they're too buttoned down, so I want to see some stuff.
But they got to sign off on it, right, Mike? So I think you can't imagine that it's going to be anything that they, you know, that's
they sign
really
off
interesting.
early on, and like you can show like what once you agree what you're not going to show, you can show some good stuff.
Some.
You're not in. You're not in. All right.
Nah.
All right. Explain this to me. Guy gets a tush push tattoo on his ass.
Did you see this guy?
It's-
Oh, do you want?
Do we have this?
I don't know if Matt has that or not.
Matt, you don't
no,
have
I don't
that?
think we do. I don't think we have
But
it.
the guy mooned the crowd, right?
Yeah.
And what did it
Well,
say?
so they were doing a live interview on Fox 29, and
Yeah.
just Jason Martinez and Breland Moore were doing this live interview, and this guy was showing his Eagles tattoos, and all of a sudden, just right there on live TV, turns around, pulls his pants down, and on the back of his right butt cheek is the tush push. And
It's the play or it's the letters?
well, it was so hard to see. Like you could see, I think it was the play itself.
It was the actual play.
Yeah, the play,
Tush push.
and they pulled the camera away and made it, but he was right there on live television dropping trowel to show a tattoo on his ass. That's what happened.
Listen, I don't know. I don't really know what to say about the mentality of that. I could tell you that would not be my style. But apparently, it's a lot of people's style that they get so. It's like that guy with the big belly with the tattoo around it. You know.
Yeah, with the fanatic. Yeah.
Knock yourself out. Anyway, here's another little. In New York, they're all hot and bothered about Cam Scatterbo going to a WWE Raw event since he had his dislocated ankle and the whole bit. Did you have a problem with that? I don't have a problem with that. Do you?
No, I mean it'd be different if he was in the ring getting thrown around.
Yeah, he went as a spectator. Now he did get it. He got involved with the wrestlers.
Yeah, a little shove,
shove. Yeah, that's not good. You shouldn't. No, I would say go to it. You're allowed to go to it, but you're not allowed. You can't show the fans that you want to jostle with people.
Yeah, I don't know. He's just kind of standing there, just a little shove back and forth, and that was it. Like, if it was more than that, like I said, if he was like actively involved in the wrestling, in the ring or outside the ring or whatever, beating people up, that'd be different. Then I'd say, yeah, Giants fans, you're right. But yeah, a little shove, a little personality, yeah, it should be fine. And he said you do it again. Like he wouldn't change anything. He don't care.
That's not. It's certainly. It's not on the same level as Riley Cooper going to a country concert.
No,
right?
And same.
This is kind of a little more benign than what he did.
Yeah.
And finally, let's wrap it up with this one. Bernie Perrant Memorial Service on Friday. Everybody loved Bernie. Everybody knew Bernie. Just a great guy. You covered hockey for a lot of years. We had a really close relationship with Bernie Perrant. Give me your best Bernie story here.
So there was a video that came out about the Broad Street Bullies several years ago, and Joe Watson tells a story about how it was a tight playoff game, and there was a timeout, and Bernie calls him over, and Bernie says to him, Joe, I think today after the game I'm going to have 2 slices of the pizza. Right, so Joe thought he was having like this strategy thing, and Bernie just wanted to talk about pizza. So I'm up at the Hockey Hall of Fame, and they're inducting Fred Shiro, and so Ed Snyder at the time had invited the entire all the living members of the Broad Street Bullies, and then there was like this party afterwards, and I had just the night before I had gone down to Niagara Falls, and I was in the casino. I did pretty well playing some blackjack, and so I'm bragging about it to the Broad Street Bullies guys, and we're talking about that 2 slices of the pizza story, and everybody's kind of laughing. End of the night comes, and all of a sudden, one of the waiters in the restaurant brings out 8 boxes of pizza and puts them in front of me, and brings over the receipt for me to pay for it, right? So all these guys are all laughing, ha, ha, ha. Bernie walks over, doesn't say a word, Mike. Walks over, opens the lid, takes out 2 slices, nods at me, and walks away. That's my Bernie Perrant story.
Yeah, Bernie was certainly a character, beloved by everybody, and so the memorial service, I think, will that be? Was that a public?
It's going to be. Yeah, it's going to be at the Xfinity Mobile Arena. You can actually go, but you need a ticket. It's free, but you do need a ticket to enter. There's still, I think, a few available on the Flyers site.
A lot of Flyer fans will be gathered around. All right, that'll wrap it up for the On Pattison podcast today. Eagles and Cowboys. I don't know, man. I just have a sneaky feeling about this game. I hope I'm dead wrong, but we'll have our post-game show following, and then next Thursday, you and I will meet up again.
Well, next Thursday's Thanksgiving.
Oh, that's right. The next Thursday, we won't meet up again.
So we might have to talk about, are we doing it the day before or day after? We have to talk about that.
Yeah, we do. I actually have to go on a trip, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. So either we do it next week or not, but we'll see. We'll definitely be back in 2 weeks.
Thanksgiving as a holiday, personal holiday for us all.
Yes,
all right,
exactly.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. You can catch the podcast obviously on all the podcast networks now, and join the chat. We're getting more people joining the chat every week, so we appreciate it. Thanks, Ford. He says, "Good show, guys. Beautiful." Thank you, everybody, and take care. Have a great rest of the night. And we'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.